Now let's see the next question. Now the next question is question number 122. Transformation was discovered by Michelson and Stahl or Hershey and Chase. Third is Griffith and the fourth is Watson and Crick. Well, this is a direct question from the NCERT textbook of the chapter Molecular Basis of Inheritance. So, in this question, it has asked that transformation was discovered by whom? Options are given. So, what is the correct answer? That is the option number 3, Griffith. So, Griffith has discovered the transformation. So, this is the correct answer. Now, let's move on to the next question. Now, the next question is question number 123. Fruit color in squash is an example of recessive epistasis, dominant epistasis, complementary genes or inhibitory genes. So, this question is from the chapter Principles of Inheritance and Variation. So, in this question, you must have seen there is a new term that is called as the epistatic gene. So, what do you mean by epistatic gene? Epistatic genes take place in which the dominant alleles of a gene marks the effect of non-allelic gene. Okay? And you can note it down, the epistatic gene definition as the dominant allele of a gene suppress the effect of non-allelic gene. That non-allelic gene can be either dominant or recessive, and that is called as the epistatic gene. So, in this question it is asked that fruit color in squash is an example. What is the correct answer among these? That is the option number 2, dominant epistasis. So, dominant epistasis is the correct answer, and in summer you can see that the squash color is either white, yellow or green. These are the 3 different types of color which give by the squash during summer time, and white is the dominant character and yellow is dominant over the green. So, these are the 3 colors which are given by the squash. So, the fruit color in squash is an example of the dominant epistasis. So, the correct answer is option number 2. Alright. Now, let us move on to the next question. Now, the next question is question number 124. Viruses have DNA enclosed in a protein coat, prokaryotic nucleus, single chromosome or both DNA and RNA. So, this is a very easy question. In the chapter Biological Classifications, we have talked about the viruses and their information. So, which among the following 4 options the correct answer? The correct answer is option number 4, which says that viruses have both DNA and RNA. So, you know already from NCERT textbook that viruses have 2 types of genetic materials that can be either DNA or RNA. So, option number 4 is the correct answer for this question. Now, let us see the next question. Now, the next question is question number 125. The first human hormone produced by recombinant DNA technology is insulin, estrogen, thyroxine or progesterone. Can you answer this question? This is a very easy question from the chapter Applications of Biotechnology. There I have discussed about the biotechnological applications in medical field. So, in this question it has asked that the first human hormone produced by recombinant DNA technology is, the correct answer is option number 1, which is insulin. So, insulin is the first human hormone which was produced by recombinant DNA technology. So, this is the correct answer for this question. Now, let us see the next question. Now, the next question is question number 126. An analysis of chromosomal DNA using the Southern hybridization technique does not use electrophoresis or blotting or autoradiography or PCR. So, This question is from the chapter Molecular Basis of Inheritance. So, in the last topic we have discussed about this. So, what is the correct answer among this? So, in this question it has asked that an analysis of chromosomal DNA using the southern hybridization technique does not use which among these is the correct answer? That is the option number 4, which is PCR. PCR means polymerase chain reaction. That means option number 4 is the correct answer for this question. Now let's move on to the next question. Now the next question is question number 127. You can see here, in vitro clonal propagation in plants is characterized by, there are options given. First option is PCR and RAPD. Second is northern blotting. Third is electrophoresis and HPLC. And the fourth is microscopy. So, from the chapter Molecular Basis of Inheritance, we have discussed all the terms which are mentioned in these options. So, in this question it has asked that in vitro clonal propagation in plants. In vitro means in laboratory, clonal propagation in plants. Clonal means to form the exact copies of any part of the plants to give rise to a new individual is characterized by which among these is the correct answer? That will be the option number 1, which is PCR and random amplified polymorphic DNA. So, this is the correct answer for this question. Now, let's see the next question. Now, the next question is question number 128. An alga which can be employed as food for human being is option number 1, Eulothrix, option number 2, Chlorella, option number 3 is Pyrogyra, and option number 4, Polysiphonia. So, student, in the chapter Plant Kingdom, we have already discussed about the different importance of algae, right? So, there we have got that an alga which can be employed as food for human being is option number 2, that is Chlorella. Now, let's move on to the next question. Now, the next question is question number 129. Which vector can clone only a small fragment of DNA? First option is bacterial artificial chromosome or yeast artificial chromosome or plasmids or cosmids. So, for this you have to know the amount of DNA which is used for cloning in the following vectors. So, for the plasmid the amount of DNA is 5 to 10 kilobyte. Next, for the cosmid it is 40 to 45 kb, which means kilobyte. And the next is bacterial artificial chromosome, which is 200 to 350 kilobyte. And the last is yeast artificial chromosome, which are having large number of DNA fragment, that is 1 megabyte. Alright, which means 1000 kilobyte. So, which among these is the correct answer for this question? So, the correct answer is option number 3, that is plasmid. So, plasmid is the vector which is used to clone a small fragments of DNA, and that small fragment should be of the range 5 to 10 kilobyte. So, this is the correct answer, and you can take this question from the chapter Molecular Basis of Inheritance. Now, let's move on to the next question. Now, the next question is question number 130. An example of ex situ conservation is national park, seed bank, wildlife sanctuary or sacred grove. So, in the chapter Biodiversity and Conservations, we have discussed about this. So, what is the correct answer of this question? So, in this question it has asked that which of the following 4 option is an example of ex situ conservation? That is the option number 2, which is seed bank. So, seed bank is an example of ex situ conservation. So, this is the correct answer of the question number 130. Now, let's see the next question, that is question number 131. So in this question, you can see question number 131, a location with luxuriant growth of lichens on the trees indicate that the options are given. First options are trees are very healthy, second is trees are heavily infested, and third is location is highly polluted, and the fourth is location is not polluted. So which among these is the correct answer? That is the option number 4, that is location is not polluted. So in the chapter biological classification, we have discussed about the lichens, and these lichens are what? These are the good pollution indicator, right? So among these 4 options, option number 4 is the correct answer of this question. Now let's see the next question. Now the next question is question number 132. Match the following and select the correct options. So you have to match the column 1 with column 2. In the column 1, terms are given like earthworm, then succession, ecosystem service and population growth, and in the second column it is given pioneer species, detrivores, natality, then pollinations. So this question is from the chapter ecosystems, and you have to match the column 1 with column 2 to know the answer, and you have to take the correct option. So let's match the column 1 with column 2 to know the answer. So the earthworm, it will match with detrivores, then succession will match with pioneer species, then ecosystem service, it will match with pollination, and population growth will be matching with natality. So this is the correct answer. Now let's see the options. So among these 4 options, what is the correct answer? That is the option number 4. So option number 4 is showing the correctly matched pairs. So this is the correct answer of this question. Now let's see the next question. Now the next question is question number 133. A species facing extremely high risks of extinction in the immediate future is called vulnerable, endemic, critically endangered or extinct. So this is from the chapter biodiversity and conservations. There we have got all the terms which are mentioned in these options. So in the question it has asked that the species which are facing extremely high risks of extinction in the immediate future is called as the critically endangered. So it is given in the option number. So option 3, that is critically endangered, is the correct answer of the question number 133. Now let's move on to the next question, that is question number 134. Now the next question is question number 134. It is said that the zone of atmosphere in which the ozone layer is present is called ionosphere, mesosphere or stratosphere or troposphere. Well, this is a very easy question, and it has come from the chapter environmental issues. And in the lower class also we know that ozone layer is present in which among them? That is in the option number 3, which is stratosphere. So stratosphere is the layer of the atmosphere or the zone of the atmosphere in which the ozone layer is present. So option number 3 is the correct answer for this question. Now let's see the next question. Now the next question is question number 135. The organization which publishes the red list of species is, first option is given, that is ICFRE, second is IUCN, and third is UNEP, and fourth is WWF. So this is from the chapter biodiversity and conservation. So you know all the full form of these options which are given in this question. Let's see the full form of it. So you can see their full form written here. So IUCN, which means International Union for Conservation of Nature. Then the next is ICFRE, which means Indian Council of Forestry Research and Education. And the third is UNEP, which means United Nations Environment Program. And WWF, which means Worldwide Fund for Nature. So these are the full forms, and we have already discussed this in the chapter Biodiversity and Conservation. So which among these is the correct answer for your question? The option number 2, which is IUCN, is the correct answer for the question number 135. So this is the correct answer. Now let's see the next question. Now the next question is question number 136. Select the taxon mentioned that represent both marine and freshwater species. Echinoderms, Netophora, Cephalochordata or Cnidaria. These all options which are given for your question is from the chapter Animal Kingdom. So which among them is the correct answer for this question? That is the option number 4, which is Cnidaria. So Cnidaria is the correct answer, and it represents both marine and freshwater species. Now let's move on to the next question. Now the next question is question number 137. Which one of the following living organism completely lacks a cell wall? Following options are given: cyanobacteria or sea fan, that is Gorgonia. Third is Saccharomyces, and the fourth is blue-green algae. So among these 4 options, you have to choose the correct answer which represent the living organism that completely lacks a cell wall. So what is the correct answer? The correct answer is the option number 2, that is sea fan. The scientific name is Gorgonia. So this is from the chapter Animal Kingdom. Make sure you understand this chapter very clearly, and all the scientific names which are given in your NCERT textbooks are very important. So you must know all the examples of the separate phylums that are given, and also the class and order which is given in your Animal Kingdom chapters. Now let's move on to the next question. Now the next question is question number 138. Planaria possess high capacity of metamorphosis, regeneration, alternation of generation or bioluminescence. Well, this is also from the chapter Animal Kingdom. So in this question it has asked that which of the following 4 options have the example planaria that possess high capacity of which of these following? That is the option number 2, regeneration. So in the lower classes also we know that planaria possess high capacity of regeneration. That means if you cut any part of that planaria species, then it will give rise to a new individuals, right? So this is the correct answer for this question. Now let's see the next question. Now the next question is question number 139. A marine cartilaginous fish that can produce electric current is Pristices, Torpedo, Trigon or Scoliodon. So this is also from the chapter Animal Kingdom. So what is the correct answer of this question? The correct answer is the option number 2, that is torpedo. So torpedo is the correct answer of the question number 139. Now let's move on to the next question. Now the next question is question number 140. Choose the correctly matched pair. Option number 1, tendon, specialized connective tissue. Option number 2, adipose tissue, dense connective tissue. Option number 3, areolar tissue, loose connective tissue. And option number 4, cartilage, loose connective tissue. So student, we have already discussed about the animal tissues in the chapter structural organization in animals, right? So in option number 1, it is written tendon, specialized connective tissue. This is the wrongly matched pair because tendon is a dense connective tissue, right? Now the next is adipose tissue. Here it is written, it is the example of dense connective tissue, whereas adipose tissue is the specialized connective tissue. And the third option is areolar tissue. It is loose connective tissue. That is the correct answer. And the last option is cartilage. It is also an example of loose connective tissue, but it is the wrong statement, right? because the cartilage is dense connective tissue. So among these 4 options, option number 3 is the correct one. Now let's move on to the next question. Now the next question is question number 141. Choose the correctly matched pair. First is inner lining of salivary duct, that is present in the ciliated epithelium. Second is moist surface of buccal cavity, that is the glandular epithelium. Third is tubular parts of nephrons, and it is cuboidal epithelium. And the fourth is inner surface of bronchioles, which is a squamous epitheliums. So in this question, what it is given? It is the functions and the locations of the various types of animal tissues, that is the epithelial tissues, are given in this question. So this question is from the chapter Structural Organizations in Animals. There we have discussed about the animal tissues. So from the following 4 options, you have to tick the correctly match. So from the following options, option number 3, which says that tubular parts of nephrons is found in cuboidal epithelium. So the cuboidal epithelium are present in the tubular parts of the nephron. So option number 3 is the correct answer, while option number 1, 2 and 4 is incorrectly written. Now let's move on to the next question. Now the next question is question number 142. In S phase of the cell cycle, options are given. First option is the amount of DNA doubles in each cell. Second is amount of DNA remains same in each cell. Third is chromosome number is increased. And fourth is the amount of DNA is reduced to half in each cell. So from the chapter Cell Cycle and Cell Divisions, there we have discussed about the interphase stage and the M phase. So the interphase stage comprises of G1, then S, then G2 phase. So among this, the S phase, that is called as the synthetic phase of the cell cycle. What is the correct answer among these 4 options? The correct answer is the option number 1, which is the amount of DNA get doubles in each cell during S phase of the cell cycle. S phase means the synthesis phase, and you can refer to that chapter to know details of this phase. Okay. Now let's move on to the next question. Now the next question is question number 143. The motile bacteria are able to move by fimbriae, flagella, cilia or pili. So in the chapter Cell, the Unit of Life, we have discussed about the fimbriae, flagella, then cilia and pili. So from the 4 options, what is the correct answer for the motile of the bacteria? That means how the bacteria are moved. They are moved by the flagella. So among these 4 options, option number 2 is the correct answer for this question. Now let's see the next question. Now the next question is question number 144. Select the option which is not correct with respect to enzymes action. First is substrate bind with enzyme at its active site. Second is addition of lot of succinate does not reverse the inhibition of succinic dehydrogenase by malonate. Then third is a non-competitive inhibitor binds the enzyme at a site distinct from that which binds the substrate. Fourth is malonate is a competitive inhibitor of the enzyme succinic dehydrogenase. So this is from the chapter Biomolecules. There we have discussed about the enzymes. So what is the correct answer among these? Option number 1, then option number 3 and 4 is correctly written, but in the option number 2 it is written that addition of lot of succinate does not reverse the inhibition of succinate dehydrogenase by malonate, which means option number 2 is the incorrect answer, and this is the correct answer for this question number 144. Now let's see the next question. Now the next question is question number 145. Which one of the following is a non-reducing carbohydrate? Maltose, sucrose, lactose or ribose 5-phosphate. So, from the chapter biomolecules, we have discussed about the structure of biomolecules, right? So, in the question it is written that which one of the following option is a non-reducing carbohydrate? The options are given here. So, what is the correct answer? The correct answer is option number 2, that is sucrose. So, sucrose is a non-reducing carbohydrates. So, this is the correct answer for this question. Now, let's move on to the next question. Now, the next question is question number 146. The enzyme recombinase is required at which stage of meiosis? Pectin stage, zygote stage, diplotin stage or dikinasis. So, in the chapter cell cycle and cell divisions, we have discussed all the options that are given in this question. So, in the Pectin stage, what happens? The homologous chromosomes get bind to each other to form the pairing, right? So, in the question it is written that the enzyme recombinase is required at which stage of the meiosis? That is the option number 1, that is Pectin stage. So, during this Pectin stage, the enzyme recombinase is required. Now, let's move on to the next question. Now, the next question is question number 147. The initial step in the digestion of milk in human is carried out by lipase, trypsin, rennin or pepsin. Well, this is from the chapter digestion and absorption. So, in this question it has asked that the initial step in the digestion of milk in human is carried out by which of the following is the answer? The answer is option number 3, which is rennin. So, rennin is the enzyme which is carried out by the initial step in the digestion of milk in the case of humans, right? So, this is the correct answer. Now, let's move on to the next question. Now, the next question is question number 148. Fructose is absorbed into the blood through mucosa cells of intestine by the process which is called active transport, facilitated transport, simple diffusion or co-transport mechanism. So, all the options which are given, we have discussed about this in the chapter transport of plants. So, while discussing about the transport of plants, we have discussed that some of the minerals transport in different ways. It can be either active transport which requires energy, it can be either facilitated transport that we have discussed in facilitated diffusion that requires the protein, that is porins, then simple diffusion which means the movement of materials from higher concentration to lower concentration, and the fourth is co-transport mechanism which means the communication take place between the two cells for the transport of materials between one cells to another cell. So, among these 4 options, what is the correct answer? The correct answer is option number 2, which is facilitated transport, which means that fructose which is absorbed into the blood through the mucosa cells of intestine is by the process which is called as facilitated transport. So, in also the chapter digestion and absorption, we have discussed about this, that fructose it absorbed into the blood through the mucosa cells of intestine, right. So, the mucosa cell, you know, they secrete mucus. So, by which of the following process they transport it? By the process which is called as facilitated transport. So, this is the correct answer for this question. Now, let's see the next question. Now, the next question is question number 149. Approximately 70% of carbon dioxide absorbed by the blood will be transported to the lungs. Options are given. First option is as bicarbonate ions. Second option is in the form of dissolved gas molecules. Third is by binding of red blood cells. And fourth is as carbaminohemoglobin. So, this is from the chapter breathing and exchange of gases. So, what is the correct answer for this question? This is from NCERT textbook. You must answer this. So, what is the correct answer? That is the option number 1, that is as bicarbonate ions. So, this is the correct answer for the question 149. Now, let us see the question number 150. Now, the next question is, you can see here, a person with blood group AB is considered as universal recipient because he has, options are given here. First is both A and B antigens on red blood cells but no antibodies in the plasma. Second is both A and B antibodies in the plasma, and third is no antigen on red blood cells and no antibody in the plasma, and fourth is both A and B antigens in the plasma but no antibodies. So, this is from the chapter Principles of Inheritance and Variations. So, in that chapter we have discussed about the human blood groups. So, what is the correct answer among this? So, in this question it is asked that a person with blood group AB, which means they are going to have this allele IA and IB, okay. So, it is considered as universal recipient because he has no antigen on RBC and no antibody in the plasma, which means option number 3 is the correct answer for this question. Now, let us see the next question. Now, the next question is question number 150. So, in this question, you can see here, a person with blood group AB is considered as universal recipient because he has 4 options are given. First option is both A and B antigens on RBC but no antibodies in the plasma. Second is both A and B antibodies in the plasma. Third is no antigen on RBC and no antibody in the plasma, and the fourth option is both A and B antigens in the plasma but no antibodies. So, this question is given from the chapter Principles of Inheritance and Variations. There we have discussed about the human blood groups. So, in this case it is written that a person with blood group AB, which means alleles IA and IB are present, okay. So, AB is considered as universal recipient. Why it is so? Because it has both A and B antigens on red blood cells but no antibodies in the plasma, which means option number 1 is the correct answer for this question. Now, let us see the next question. Now, the next question is question number 151. How do parasympathetic neural signals affect the working of the heart? 4 options are given. First is it reduces both heart rate and cardiac output. Second is heart rate is increased without affecting the cardiac output. Third is both heart rate and cardiac output increases, and the fourth is heart rate decreases but cardiac output increases. So, in the chapter Neural Control and Coordinations, we have talked about the parasympathetic neural signals. So, how do parasympathetic neural signals affect the working of the heart? What does it do? It reduces the heart rate, and along with this it reduces the cardiac output, which is given in the option number 1. So, option number 1 is the correct answer for the question number 151. Now, let us move on to the next question. Now, the next question is question number 152. Which of the following causes an increase in sodium reabsorption in the distal convoluted tubules? First is increase in aldosterone levels. Second is increase in antidiuretic hormone levels. Third is decrease in aldosterone levels, and fourth is decrease in antidiuretic hormone levels. So, in the chapter Human Excretory Systems, I have discussed about the nephron structure, and in the chapter Chemical Coordinations and Integrations, you will get this answer that the sodium reabsorptions in the distal convoluted tubules it is due to the increase in aldosterone levels. So, It is given in option number 1, which means option number 1 is the correct answer for the question number 152. Now the next question is question number 153. Select the correct matching of the type of the point with the example in human skeletal system. In the first column, type of joints are given like cartilaginous joint, pivot joints, then hinge joints and gliding joints. Along with this, in the column 2, the examples are given like cartilaginous, example like between the frontal and the parietal. Next is the pivot joint between third and fourth cervical vertebra. Next, third is hinge joint, which is example is between humerus and pectoral girdle, and the fourth is gliding joint, which is present between carpals. So, all the types of joint we have discussed in the chapter locomotions and movement. So, in this question it has asked that select the correct matching of the type of the point with the example in human skeletal systems. So, what should be the correct answer? The correct answer is gliding joint and the example is between carpals. So, option number 4 is the correct answer for this question. And in this question, you can see here it is written point. So, it should be actually joint. Alright. So, in this question you can read it as select the correct matching of the type of the joint. But here it is written point. There is a silly mistake in the spelling and the answer is option number 4, that is the gliding joint. It is example is between carpals.